Good morning, grade 3s and 4s. Today we're going to talk about subtraction with borrowing. Now, some of you might be wondering how come we're not actually just doing regular subtraction, and that's because you're now at a level where you don't need to practice the other kind of subtraction. For example, let's say you have 29 minus 18. You know how to do that. There's no need to spend a lot of time on it, okay? The other thing is we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about lining things up, because you should already know that if I go 29 minus 7, it looks like this, where I have it lined up like this. It's not 29 minus 7 over here, like that. It's not 29 minus 17 like this, where this isn't lined up here, okay? You know that you have to do just a straight line up, and then you can just answer it really easily, okay? I'm not spending a lot of time on that because you should know those things already, but I am reminding you of it just in case for some reason you have forgotten. Okay, so borrowing. So the first thing is a lot of you will immediately look at this and you'll go 9 minus 7 is 2, and you'll write a 2. But that is not correct, because you're not allowed to go up. In other words, you're not allowed to start from the 9 and go up to the 7. That is not allowed. No ups allowed. You can only go down in subtraction. Addition, it doesn't matter. You can go up, you can go down, you can go sideways. It doesn't matter. Well, kind of matters about sideways. But in subtraction, you always have to go down. So then you immediately have the question of, how do I do 7 minus 9? And the answer is, of course, you can't, because 7 is smaller than 9. So what you have to do is you have to borrow. Now I want you to make sure you borrow like this, always. Always borrow from the one right beside. First thing, cross off the one that's wrong. Second thing, write your number smaller. So you borrowing 1, so 4 becomes 3. I see sometimes students make the mistake and they write a 5 instead, because they're getting 1 bigger. Never 1 bigger, it's always 1 smaller. 4 becomes 3. If this was a 2, it would become a 1. Always 1 smaller. And then I write a 1 here beside it, so it looks like 17. And again, look at what I did here, okay? I could have written a 1 like this, but now the number looks like 417, and I don't like that. I think that's messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a 1 here. So now it looks like 17, but I still know that the original number is 47. Now I just can go 17 minus 9, which I can do, and I get an 8. And 3 minus 1 is 2. Now, if you don't remember how to borrow, you need to watch this 3 or 4 or 5 times. I'm going to keep explaining these to you again and again. Just watch this again until you get it. All right? So again, we have to go down. So 4 minus 3, not possible. Sorry, excuse the cough. So since 3 is too small, I'm going to borrow. I'm going to cross out the 6. I'm going to write the number that's 1 smaller than 6. So I'm going to write 5 this time, because 6 minus 1 is 5. And then I'm going to write the 1 that I borrowed right there beside the 3. So now I have a 13. 13 minus 4 is 9. 5 minus 2, not 6. I crossed it out. That's why it's important to cross it out, okay? 5 minus 2 is 3. So my answer is 39. All right, let's do one more. Okay, 2 more actually. So 5 minus 7 is not possible. Remember, we have to do the 5 first. Since 5 is too small, I'm going to cross out the 4 and borrow from it, and I'm going to write a 3. It's really important that you write that. And I'm going to put the 1 here, so now I have a 15. See, 3 plus 1 is 4. That's what's happening there, okay? So 15 minus 7 is 8, and 3 minus 2 is 1. And there's my answer. And the last one, which a lot of kids get really scared about, they think it's really hard, or if they don't get scared, they just write 2. Because then, well, 0 minus 2, that's easy, it's 2. But it's not correct, okay? Be really, really careful. Again, remember, you're going down, so 0 minus 2 is not possible. If I have 0 pencils on my desk, I can't take, if I have 0 candies on my desk and I tell you to take 2 of them, how many candies do you get? Well, you can't do it, right? It's not possible. So again, we borrow, we cross off the 7, we go 1 smaller than 7, that's a 6. We put the 1 here that we borrowed. Now we have 10 minus 2, and it's 8. Now see, we can do that, all right? And then 6 minus 3 is 3. And that's your work. Grade 4s, I hope you are watching and remembering how to do this. I'm going to give a brief explanation about the work for the grade 3/4s, sorry, for the grade 3s, and then 4s I'm going to talk to you. Now here, this is all simple. No problem here. Just remember, show your work. I'm never going to tell you to stop doing that. Even if I don't say it, you have to do it. Show your work. Okay, so again, you can always write on here. You could write in really small letters, 37 minus 23, or you can do it on a separate page and then just take a picture of the separate page, but I need to see your work. Okay, so down here at the bottom then, we have 1, 2, 3 numbers, and we have 2 empty spaces. One of these numbers goes on one line, one of the number goes on the other line, and we don't use 1. So we could try with a guess. We could try, let's say it's 29, but you don't actually guess. You do the math. You go 37 minus 29. I borrow, just like always. I get an 8, and that's nothing. So the answer to 37 minus 29 is 8, which means this number is wrong. It can't be 29 because this should say 8, but it doesn't say 8. It says 18. So that's not the right number. So I could try again. Well, if 29 isn't right, let me try 19. Let's see. 37 minus 19. I borrow, write a 2, 1. This is an 8, 1. 18. 18. Yes, 19 is the correct thing for that spot. So now I've used 19. So now I just have to think, what number goes here? Is it the 29? Or is it the 39? Do the math, figure it out. On this page right here, I just want to remind you guys, use these numbers up here to answer your questions, okay? That's really important. All right, grade 4s. Your math is more complicated. You've got multiple steps. Grade 3s, you can go ahead and get started now. You don't have to finish the video, but if you're curious and you want to see what the grade 4 math looks like, you can, but you don't need to do any math like this. Your math is less complicated. All right, so grade 4s, same as grade 3s, you are working downward, always downward. So the first thing is 1 minus 2 is not possible. So you go right beside, not far away, right beside. 9 turns into an 8. This becomes 11, and we get the number 9. Then we get 8 minus 8, which is 0. 3 minus 1, which is 2. 4 minus 3, which is 1. Okay, here's another one. So 7 minus 3 is 4. See, I don't have to borrow on that one because 7 is bigger than 3 already. So no borrowing is necessary. I had to borrow first here because 1 was smaller than 2. But here, 7 is not smaller than 3, so no borrowing is necessary. Now 2 minus 4 is not possible. So I'm going to cross out the 7 and write an 8. Remember, this is always one smaller. And the 2 becomes 12. Now 12 minus 4 is 8. I can do that. 7 minus 9. Oh no, I can't do 7 minus 9 either. This is not 8 minus 9, by the way. It's 7 minus 9. So since 7 is too small, I'm going to cross out the 6, write a 5, and I'm going to turn 7 into 17. Now I have 17 minus 9, which gives me 8. 17, not 18 minus 9, 17. This is why it's really important to make sure you cross and write your numbers very, very carefully. Then I go 5 minus 2, and I get 3. And get 3,884. I'm not going to do another example of this. All I'm going to say is watch your math carefully. Don't forget to do the stuff I'm doing. That step of crossing out and writing another number, very important steps. All right, so if you look at this work right here, the first question is really easy. It's just saying which ones of these are you doing wrong and which ones are right. In other words, which of these subtractions make sense and which ones of these are nonsense. And I'll help you out right here. That one's nonsense because this isn't over where it belongs. This whole number needs to be over 157, like that. Okay, then down here, do your work. Remember, show your work. I will not just accept answers because I know you can just do that on your calculator. I want to see your borrowing. I want to see it happening. Okay? And then down here, you have some important information. You have your carrots, your tomatoes, and that's the morning. And then you've got carrots again. Let me actually do that in a different color. You've got carrots again and potatoes again, but this time it's in the afternoon. So you have two things. You have morning and you have afternoon, and you have two different products, okay? So for example, if I wanted to know how many carrots the farmer collected in the whole day, I would have to do the morning number, which is 1,275, and the afternoon number. And I would have to add them all together, and that would tell me how many carrots there are in the whole day. All right, and so you have to pay very, very close attention to these questions. All right, remember, show your work. Have fun with this, and it's due tomorrow.